Hello everybody, I'm HPL from HPL TV and welcome back to a new video. So today we're going to be talking about Romeo and Juliet and some issues I have with the story. And before you start commenting, oh how could you talk about a classic like that? I'm not saying it's a bad story. In fact, I think it's kind of entertaining. But I'm just going to be making fun of the fact that it aged horribly. So basically I'm going to be summarizing the story and giving commentary about it. Towards the end of the video there might not be as much detail in what I'm saying, and the reason for that is I started writing the script for this video a little over a month ago and I forgot about it until like a few days ago, so the information isn't as fresh in my mind as it was when I first started working on the video. So the book starts with two guys walking through town and their names are Samson and Gregory. Samson and Gregory are relatives of Juliet, and they're basically just, talking shit about the Montagues, which for those of you who don't know is Romeo's family. Juliet's family is the Capulets, and the Montagues and the Capulets are kind of at war, which is why there's so much conflict in this story. Basically, they run into a group of the Montague servants on the street, and then a big-ass sword fight breaks out. I think doing this was kind of a dick move, because, a sword fight kind of blocks a lot of sidewalk space. Anyway, this goes on for a few minutes until the prince comes out, and he's like, "Hey, can you guys stop? This is getting really old, it was kind of funny in the beginning seeing you idiots fight, but not anymore. Stop fighting in the middle of the street, thank you. Next person that does this, I'm gonna kill you." So after that, we're introduced to Romeo, who's currently a sad boy. He got rejected by some girl named Rosaline, so he's in a bad mood. His friend and also cousin, Benvolio, tries to cheer him up by saying, "Hey, there's a party tonight at the Capulet Mansion. Maybe you could find someone and get over her." So really, this all stems from Romeo looking for a rebound. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, how's Romeo gonna get into the party if the Montagues and the Capulets are enemies? Well, it was actually surprisingly easy for him to get in because it was a costume party. So after a bit of Benvolio kind of nudging him, he agrees to go, and so they end up going to the party. Meanwhile, Juliet isn't very happy either. She has an arranged wedding with a man in his 20s named Paris. By the way, she's not in love with Paris. This is just an arranged wedding that he wanted. Another important detail, Juliet is 13. So basically, Paris approaches her dad and he's like, "Yo, can I marry your 13-year-old daughter," right? As one does. And the dad's like, 13 is too young. Come back when she's 15. Then I'll let you marry my daughter. Because 15's old enough to get married. So even though Juliet's dad isn't completely on board with this happening now, Paris is invited to the party so they can get to know each other a bit better. They don't know each other that well, and they're already planning to get married. Well, not her, but you know what I mean. So fast forward to the party, everyone's talking, having a good time, but Romeo sees Juliet from across the room and walks up to her. Now what do you think he does? You think he says hi, introduces himself? Nope, he touches her hand immediately like a creep. And then right after that, he says something along the lines of, "Can I kiss you?" Now keep in mind that they just met and Romeo's already making big moves, which I can respect. He doesn't like small talk. He just gets right to business. Juliet just kind of lets him and they end up kissing. Now right after this, the Capulet nurse comes in and says, "Hey Juliet, your mom needs to talk," and they part ways. So that's the end of that interaction. And now Romeo can't stop thinking about her. Another detail, Romeo is 16, just in case this story wasn't already creepy enough for you. So after the party ends, Romeo's still thinking about her and he really wants to see her again. So he has a genius idea. Sneak onto the Capulet property to try to see her. So he's in her yard and he overhears her talking to herself outside. First of all, who talks to themselves outside of their head? We all talk to ourselves in our head, thinking. But why would she do that out loud? Outside. Anyway, she's talking about how she loves him, but oh no, he's a Montague. And then he's like, "I love you too." So she's kind of like, "Oh, what are you doing here? You could get killed." And he basically confesses his love for her. And she's like, "Oh, I love you too. Let's get married tomorrow." Yes, tomorrow, the day after we met. Even though this is only our second conversation, and I barely know you, and you snuck onto my property. That's not creepy. That's marriage material, right? Now, I understand that, since life was significantly shorter in these times, marriage was earlier. But you'd think that in a time period where people don't live that long, they'd be very quick in saying what they need to say. There's a lot of fancy long words in this book. A simple sentence just takes way too long to say. Hurry up, you're probably not going to make it to 30. The words in this book were so complicated that when we read it in English class, we didn't take the book home to read it. The English teacher had to read it aloud to us in class, and then after 2 or 3 paragraphs, he'd stop and basically just explain what happened. Because nobody knew. Now the next significant or important event doesn't really happen for a while, so I'll just give you a quick breakdown of what happens in between the two main events. Romeo gets in trouble and then is banned from the town. Juliet really doesn't want to be with Paris, so some guy named Friar Lawrence, I don't remember what relationship he has with the characters. Like I said, my memory's a bit fuzzy, but he helps her come up with a plan to escape. Basically, he gives her like some potion to make it look like she's dead, but in reality, she's only passed out for like a few days. So the second part of the plan is to send a message to Romeo explaining the plan. The plan is for them to meet outside of town and then run away together. But whoever was in charge of delivering the message messed up big time, because he told Romeo that Juliet was actually dead. So Romeo's like, oh no, I'm gonna kill myself over this girl that I met a week ago that I probably haven't spent more than 10 minutes talking to, but he wants to be with her when she dies, so he decides to go to her tomb. And doing this requires him to go back into town, but he doesn't care because he's gonna kill himself anyway. So he gets to the tomb, and would you look who's there? It's Paris. You know, they get into a fight. Romeo eventually kills Paris, and then the timing for this next part is just so terrible. Then Romeo kills himself. About a minute later, Juliet wakes up from her sleep because the potions wore off. She sees that he's dead, and right after this happens, Friar Lawrence comes in to tell Romeo what actually happened, and that the message was miscommunicated. But the thing is, right before he does, Juliet kills herself. Basically, the story ends with their families making up because, I don't know, I guess they realized how stupid their beef was. I don't even remember why they had issues with each other in the first place. And really, this could have all been avoided if they had just parented their kids. I don't know, maybe check in with your daughter to see if she's dating someone 3 years older than her. And maybe check in with your son to see if he's dating someone 3 years younger than him. And if you have a child that's dating someone and they just met, maybe tell them to take it a bit slow and not go crazy. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Make it make sense, make it make sense. I can't hide a heart in the black tent. You were off the bullshit.